I don't know if you guys caught me doing a little neck exercises, but yeah, and got a little stick. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but I am back on track and time's a ticking. I'm running out of quiet time, but it's all good. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Anyway, we're back for chapter 6, lecture 5, and I think we could probably wrap it all up in this lecture of what we have left to talk about bone tissue. We've talked about a lot, and it got a little complicated, and I used some fancy words, so hopefully you followed along. If not, watch it again and take notes and draw your own pictures. That is my recommendation to you as you work through the material. Got a little hummingbird outside buzzing about. But that is not what you are here to listen to. Oh, buddy, I know you're out of pummy food. Sorry. Gonna yell at me. I'll do that when I'm done. Okay. I'm so distractible. I'm sorry, guys. Trying to start a slideshow here. We are talking about one of my favorite things. Oh, hold on, because I am not in the active window. Here you go. Excuse me. Bones' role in calcium homeostasis. So we know calcium is stored in the bones. Calcium is a mineral salt that gives bones its hardness. But it's a storage. It's the pantry for the body getting access to having calcium in its blood full time. So here we go. Why do I care about calcium other than the fact that it makes bones strong? That's not its main claim to fame. I need it for nerve impulses, muscle contractions, coagulating blood, cell division, and I need calcium is not something my body can make. I see that my window needs to be a little bit bigger to catch everything, and I can't change it now that I am recording. Oh well. Oh, nuts. What the heck? This is giving me, here we go. Okay. Most of it's stored in my bones, but I also get it in my daily meals. If I'm going to be absorbing it, remember we've already had this conversation, I need vitamin D, which is made by the skin. But I've got to eat it and I've got to absorb it, and I need constant access to it in my blood at all times. All right, so what does that mean? I hate that this is cutting it off my window. Let's see if I can't change it when I'm, all right. Can't change it when I'm recording, so we'll have to kind of cut it in half. If I have too much, I stimulate osteoblasts to take it out and store it in bone. That's calcitonin, and I kind of don't really like this one, but we're going to talk about this mechanism. Here we go. It's everyone's favorite homeostasis loop, and this is actually only part of the story. So let me find where the heck my little thing is. All right. If I have low, so I've decreased blood calcium levels. All right. So my stimulus is low calcium levels in the blood. That is going to be detected by this little guy called the parathyroid gland. The parathyroid gland is behind your thyroid gland. Your thyroid gland is in your neck. If you were to rip it out of my neck, and that's what we're showing here, the back side, the posterior view of your cervical vertebrae, that's what these guys are. You have these little green dots. Those little green dots are the parathyroid gland, and they rest on this pink guy here, which is a thyroid gland. So they will detect the lower calcium concentration and they will release parathyroid hormone, parathyroid gland. So the response, the output, is going to be releasing parathyroid gland. And, release parathyroid hormone. Oh my goodness. Parathyroid gland makes parathyroid hormone, which is known as PTH. What does PTH do? PTH actually does 3 things. This is only talking about 2. That's not okay. Parathyroid gland will stimulate osteoclasts to break down bone. It'll say, hey, break down bone, release calcium into the blood, right? Release calcium into the blood. It will say, hey, kidneys. Oops, you guys. Kidneys, hold on to calcium. Don't release it into the urine, okay? Hold on to calcium, retain it. Don't release in urine. Oh, trying to get it up. You. Oh, no, we're not ready for that guy. Oh, you. Oh, son of a biscuit. What's going on here? Like I said, I'm having some technical difficulty into urine because once it's in urine, it's not coming back. And it will also say, hey, small intestines, take the vitamin D and absorb as much calcium as you can across intestines. Oops. Across intestines. Intestinal wall, we'll just say. So there's actually 3 responses of parathyroid hormone. It talks to the kidneys 2 ways because it says, hey, kidneys make more vitamin D so I can absorb more in the intestines. As I raise calcium levels in the blood, where did it go? Here I am. That's what that bottom one is saying, that it will turn it off. It's a negative feedback loop. But it doesn't involve the brain. It just involves parathyroid gland releasing its hormone. So here's what we're saying. Bones will store the majority of the body's calcium. Otherwise, it's just what you're getting from your diet. And parathyroid hormone will be released by parathyroid gland when calcium levels drop. It will stimulate osteoclasts to break down bone. It will stimulate kidneys to make a part of vitamin D. That's what this is saying. And it will stimulate kidneys to actually hold on to it. This is silly. The picture isn't matching this. And retain calcium, not lose to urine. Okay, I'm actually going to go backwards for a second. Okay. All right, so that is really where bone is one part of managing a constant supply of calcium in the blood. And when we put everything together of hormonal and mechanical influences of bone, hormonal are going to say, hey, it's all based on what's going on with calcium. It's going to say where and what. Oh, well, mechanical is going to say where. Where remodeling occurs is based on the stresses you're putting on your bone. Hormones are going to say whether it does occur or not and when. So we had the hormones of parathyroid hormone, we had growth hormone, we had testosterone and estrogen, we had other interstitial growth factors. I mean, there were a whole lot of other hormones that were in the previous lecture that talked about the impact with bone and bone formation and bone remodeling. So sometimes remodeling is a good thing. And sometimes remodeling is a bad thing, like when you're breaking bone down to get to calcium. So please do the body right and keep your bones healthy. All right, so what we have, This is so wacky. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is bone repair and bone fractures. So this is I hate how the book talks about this. They take the fracture and repair and break it into 3 phases. So what that last slide said, which is ridiculous, is that it's 3 phases in 4 steps. So ridiculous. So let's just look at this picture. Oh, well, it has all the words there too. Let's just look at the picture. So when we have a break, the first thing you do is you have inflammation. You have increased blood flow. You have a big fat bruise. A hematoma is a bruise. So you have inflammation. That is step 1. So it's increased blood flow, redness, heat, swelling, and pain. And what will happen first, because it's the quickest, is you will lay down a cartilage patch. Lay down cartilage patch. So that's this fibrocartilaginous callus. It's a cartilage patch, plugging it up. You then have, in this reparative stage, the next thing you're going to have is osteoblasts laying down spongy bone. And I'm struggling because I don't like how your book presents this. And then, so I go from a fibrocartilaginous patch to a spongy bone patch, okay? Hard callus. And then I have to have my last phase because, is this, if this break was in the diaphysis, right? The diaphysis is not a solid unit of spongy bone. The diaphysis has a medullary cavity. The diaphysis has compact bone on the side. So I will have to remodel. Whoops, I didn't mean to cross it out. I was trying to underline it. I will have osteoblasts, lay down compact bone, and I will have osteoclasts, put in the medullary cavity and remodel so that it is right? Fix it. Put spaces where there's spaces, like the medullary cavity, which I can't write because I'm out of room. So we're just going to leave it. All right, so I have the reactive phase. Reactive phase is just my inflammation and my break, my bloody hematoma. I have the reparative phase, which is first going to be cartilage, and then it's going to be spongy bone. And then I have the remodeling phase, where I will make it right. And what's to note is at the stage, at the location of the break, it's actually going to be thicker. Location of break, so it doesn't break again. It's going to be thicker, it's going to be more resilient, so that you don't repeat. Right? Fool me, break me once, shame on you. Right? I'm going to prevent it from happening again. All right, so let's see. First we have the hematoma, and that is inflammation, lasts up to several weeks. And it is redness, pain, swelling, and heat. Redness, pain, swelling, and heat. And then I have, because of the increased blood flow, I've got some cleaning up to do. I have laying down some collagen fibers and the cartilage matrix. And then that takes about 3 weeks. And then I'll get the bony cartilage, the bony callus, trabeculi, so that is spongy bone. This is why you wear your cast forever when you break a bone. And that's going to take about 3 months. So it's my osteoblasts. And then I've got the final stage of fixing it, making it right. That is going to be compact bone laying down by osteoblast, making it resemble its original bone by the osteoclast. The medullary cavity, if it needs to be there, osteoclast as well. Okay, several months, right? This is taking quite several months, some time. Hematoma, fibrocartilage, callus, bony callus, and the remodeling. All right, so when we talk about breaks, though, so that's the fracture repair, but all these fractures are another type of name game. We have fractures, so breaks, that are closed, meaning they didn't go through the skin and open, that they went through. Okay, so all sorts of vocabulary, how we talk about fractures. If they were displaced, then the ends are out of alignment, or non-displaced, I broke it, but it's kind of still in the right spot. Did it break all the way through and it's complete, or not broken all the way through and it's incomplete, like a green stick fracture? We have a picture of some of this stuff. Did it go through the skin and it's open and compound, or was it not breaking through the skin and it was a closed fracture? Okay, so that is some of your name game. I'm not sure how I'm going to build that into the exam, but here's some pictures. So open and compound, it is and protrude through the skin. Closed does not protrude through the skin, so this to me looks like it's closed. Oh, this is cool. I don't really talk about this. Comminuted. The bone is just splintered and you have fragments. Ouch, that looks painful. All right, green stick is where I just kind of have a break on one side of the bone. So see how it didn't go all the way through, so it's incomplete. One side is broken, like a green twig is usually in children because their bones are not as hard as ours. What's impacted? I've never heard of this one. One end is forcibly driven into the other one. That sounds absolutely horrible. A pot lens, I don't know any of these ones. These are different and I'm not used to them. A pot fracture. Some of you guys probably had some of this. That's kind of funny. Pertains to the lower leg bone, the fibula. And it messes with the distal tibial articulation. Let's see. A joint with your ankle. Fracture the distal end of the fibula with serious injury of the distal tibial articulation. So that is where you damage your ankle. And then what's this? Colles. Fracture the distal end of the radius. So this is in the arm, which the distal fragment is displaced posteriorly, so you have broken it off at the wrist location. That looks yucky. I'm used to these ones. These are the ones I talk about. Comminuted is it's broken in a whole bunch of places because you're brittle, so broken in 3 or more. It's just kind of shattered. Versus a compression fracture. Compression fracture is that it's crushed. Extreme trauma, like a fall. We can have a spiral fracture where it's just spun right off of itself, kind of lining up with the collagen fibers. That's you sports folk. I can have an epiphyseal fracture where it breaks off of the epiphyseal growth plate. You can have a depression fracture where it's punched in, pressed inward, and then here's the green stick where it's just broken on one part. It's not broken all the way through. So those are just wacky little fractures. Honestly, I put those out there for your reference. I wouldn't worry about trying to memorize all of those unless you're going into that field. would be testing you more so on the process of bone repair than the specific fracture names. All right. So now we have a couple disorders, and then we're done with the chapter. So we have talked about, oh, you guys can't see this, but this on the left side, if I can write. Hey, come on. Oh, hold on. Trying to find, here we are. So on the left, this is normal bone. Yo. And on the right, oops, this guy here is osteoporotic. So osteoporosis bone, we'll just say. Because I don't have estrogen and my osteoclasts outpaced my osteoblast. I'm reabsorbing bone and breaking it down quicker than I'm making it. So I have very brittle, fragile bone pits. And my bone's just getting dissolved. That's scary to me. Whoa, why is that? Oh, well, I don't know what these are for. This is just some, I guess that slide was out of order. What? All right, we're going to continue talking about osteoporosis. Bone resorption outpaces deposit. Most susceptible is the spongy bone in your vertebrae and in your femur. Oh, so there's normal. And then this guy down below is osteoporotic bone. And it is most often in postmenopausal women. Look, 30% of women 60 to 70 will have osteoporosis, 70% by age 80. And 30% of Caucasian women will fracture a bone because of it. Men to a lesser degree because of estrogen, lack of estrogen. So people on estrogen replacement therapy probably have a better chance of not getting this. So how do I treat it? Well, I treat it with calcium, but I don't treat it with calcium when it's happening. I mean, you need to be on calcium now. Take your vitamins, keep your bones strong now, and let's just say always. Right? You have your vitamin D so that you can absorb calcium. And this is really what I want to stress is these weight-bearing exercises. So when you're helping the elderly and they're like, oh, can you carry that for me? Your answer is no. You need to keep your bones strong. You need to keep your bones healthy. You need weight-bearing exercises, all right? Using gravity as, fighting that with weights. So lift your own. I'm just trying to keep you healthy. But it's very important to have weight-bearing exercises to keep your bones strong because you're putting the stresses on them and they will respond to that. So when people become inactive as they age, bones they're just going to lose their bone health. So hormone replacement therapy that I just talked about will slow it down, doesn't reverse it. And then there's all these other reasons why maybe you don't want to be on hormone replacement therapy. So this is what I just told you guys. Plenty of calcium to prevent it, right? How do I not have that happen? Plenty of calcium in the diet in early adulthood. This starts now. Hey, don't be a heavy drinker because that will pull minerals out of the bone. And do weight-bearing exercises. It's ridiculous that I can barely do a push-up. And I've been doing my yoga push-ups for quite some time, but I'm starting to see some progress. And you just have to do these uncomfortable things. All right. There is another disorder. And so osteoporosis is where osteoclasts are outpacing osteoblasts. Paget disease is where I have spongy bone all over the place. And I'm going to pull up some pictures of Paget's disease. This is osteoblasts. So the haphazard bone, deposit. Hold on. Haphazard bone deposit, that is by osteoblast activity. But then we had something else that I just kind of skimmed through. Well, I guess we talked about it. I wasn't sure. Well, this is just factors that affect bone growth. It's a nice little comprehensive table, so make sure you check that out. Oh, here were some other ones. Osteomalacia. I know I want to pull up some pictures of some of these things, and rickets. So this is typically a vitamin D deficiency, which means you're not able to absorb enough calcium and your bones are soft. So it's osteomalacia of children, and you will have bone curves. Bones are enlarged, abnormally long. I upset my mother-in-law when I said it looked like my husband had rickets, because I don't know how their nutrition was. But, you know, he definitely has some bowed legs. Osteomalacia, again, is typically a vitamin D disorder. So let's go. I'm sure you can keep them. I don't care. Let's go on to, oh boy, don't look at all that. That's scary. Paget's disease. Of the bone. How about we just do bone? Paget's disease of bone. So what this is abnormal deposits. I want to see if I can find some of these images. I should have just pasted them in my thing. But, you know, it's where they're putting extra bone is growing on skulls. Extra bone grows on, you know, limbs, and it causes some, you know, disfigurement. It's crazy. Some of that is, I just think it's interesting. Let's go to rickets. I laugh because, sure, ricket bone disease sounds good. Again, images. So again, it's where their legs are very curved. Of course, my face is in the way. Let's go. Oh, that's an awesome picture. Let me move me out of the way there. So you'll have like your normal bone, nice straight femurs, and then looks like we have some fractures. Rickets, they're a lot curved because they don't have the calcium for the hardness of the bone, so the bones are going to curve under the stresses. Just how it goes, I guess, is what I would say. So, all right, where am I? I am here. Okay. That's it. I think we're done with this chapter and all these little bites here and little bites there. Got a little technical. We've got some disorders based on bone tissue that you want to make note of. And I think we're ready to learn our bones, right? We've got long bones, short bones, flat bones, irregular bones, and that is going to be in the next few chapters. I have yet to figure out how I'm going to do that, but that is not today's problem. So thank you. We have done chapter 6 in my messy kitchen. It's better than always looking at the bathroom door upstairs, but I just don't quite have it figured out yet, do I? Anyway, you guys take care and be well. Bye.